Hello everyone, this is Crustalmania and welcome back to the 9th week of selling. This week, I was able to sell 5 cards. Can we get a yeah? So, I was surprised because the previous week, as you guys know, it was kind of a quiet week with no sales. And then all of a sudden, the sales came in because I think I grouped a bunch of these listings together. So, you'll see a lot of loop footage of the cards I sold this week, and we'll get into it as you've probably already seen on the screen. The first card I sold was a reverse holo Dialga from the Diamond and Pearl era. I don't know the exact set that this card comes from, but I do have a reverse holo Cresselia that I bought from a seller on eBay, and this was one of the first listings that I purchased, and I purchased 2 different listings from this seller, and you'll see the different card conditionings that go on through this video. So this Dialga is a reverse holo card. I honestly thought I was getting as a near mint card. Come to find out, after I got the card, did a delivery day video, opened it, looked in the top loader, I did not realize that it was lightly played, and I sold this card as lightly played. So this card this week sold on eBay for about $5, and my net profit was about $386. So I thought it was going to be a lot higher because I thought it was going to be a near mint card, but you know, it ended up being a lightly played card. And like the Lost Origins Charizard I sold a couple weeks ago, I wasn't sure if lightly played cards sold, and the Lost Origins Charizard gave me hope. So the Dialga finally sold, which was kind of nice because I had it a little bit higher because TCG player pricing was higher, but I ended up lowering it down to $5, and then someone bid on it and it sold. So that was a great thing there, and kind of glad to move on from this card. Even though it has a very nice design, kind of glad to move on from that card. So the next card this week is the Tapu Koko GX card. Now, this card came from a second listing from the same seller. And again, I was inexperienced. I didn't know what to ask on eBay, so that's a fault of my own. I thought this card was going to come in near mint condition. Come to realize this card was probably, in what I sold it for, was moderately played, because there was a little bit of a dent on the top of the card. You don't really see it on the front of the card, but you see it on the back. There's a little bit of a dent on the top, and I could have gotten away with lightly played, but any kind of card damage, kind of like that, I like to go on the safer side of moderately played. So this card I had on TCG player pricing for a little bit higher, and on eBay I eventually moved down the pricing because on TCG player the pricing was I think like 105 to 110. It was a little bit higher when I first had this card up on eBay, but I've cycled this card so many times that I eventually lowered the price down to about $1 and sold it for $1, and my returns were about 43 cents. So that is Tapu Koko, and I would say the one thing I was just kind of disappointed in myself by was not checking the conditioning at the time, or just asking the seller what the conditionings of the cards were. I was trying to do a cost-based comparison, comparing TCG player prices, which is to like selling prices, which is not the best, but I thought I was getting a near mint copy, so I thought the price was going to be higher. Lo and behold, it wasn't. So it is what it is at this point, but the Tapu Koko sold, so I'm really happy because this one had been cycling on my eBay page for a while. So the next card that I sold this week was one of the Trick or Trade cards, which is the Gengar Trick or Trade 2023 card. Now, out of all the Trick or Trade cards, I figured this card would sell just because the design is a really nice card. I believe this card is playable in the actual TCG, so it has some type of meta, I think, to it. And just, it's Gengar. I mean, Gengar is a very popular Pokemon, so definitely knew this one was going to sell. This card is in near mint condition. This came from a listing where I know I pretty much made a bad investment in about 100 Halloween Trick or Trade booster pack cards. This was my very first purchase before I even bought anything on eBay, and I never bought anything on Craigslist, so I decided to try and buy this set on there, and lo and behold, I'm just glad to sell one. I have quite a few others. I'm still trying to figure out what to do, but maybe the Gengars will sell. So that is the first trick or trade card to sell. So that was one of my goals this week, and I'll state at the end of the video kind of what my goals were for in terms of cards being sold. So this Gengar sold for about $1, and again I made about 41 cents, which is actually the first card to actually go kind of in the green, because on TCG Player this card is going for about 34 or 35 cents. So I made 6 cents on top. That, I guess, is something, and it's not in the red, so to speak, but if you're comparing it to the actual whole bulk cards that I bought, might not really make my money back there. So the next card that I sold now is a card that I am happy to have sold to one of the YouTubers here on YouTube, is X-Ray Hawk. So I sold him the full art Galarian Lapras. Now I got his contact information and we started talking, and I shared with him my eBay sellers page, and he saw this Lapras and was like, wow, this is a really nice art, like I think I want that. I'm like, you could go ahead, there's the bidding is open, you don't have to bid if you don't want to, but if you want the card you can go ahead and bid. And he put in a bid, and then he bought the Lapras. So I am really appreciative that the Lapras is going to a good home. Thank you, X-Ray Hawk. I watched all your videos so far, and I'm really appreciating the content that you're putting out there. So nice to have a fellow YouTuber purchasing this card, and hopefully we'll make future deals in the future on different Pokemon cards. But this was a very important card for me this week, just because he's a YouTuber that I've been watching and I've been in communication with, and I want to just have a good kind of relationship with him. So I wanted to make sure that this card was packaged really well and had really good communication with him. But this card is a very nice card. It's in near mint condition, and it's one of the few. The Gengar was in near mint condition, this Lapras is in near mint condition, but the last two cards were moderately played, lightly played. So the pricing of this card basically for the Lapras was, I sold it for about $3.35 and I got about $2.43 net profit. Now, comparing to what I initially paid for the card, didn't make a profit there, but you know, it's going to X-Ray Hawk, it's going to a good home. I couldn't be more happy for this card to be going to him, and I can't wait for him to do his delivery day video, because he said that he would do one, because I kind of asked, like, hey, do you mind doing a delivery day video, just to see, you know, just for me to see how other people react to my packaging for the cards that I do on eBay, because I try and do a really good packaging for the card. So I'm looking forward to the delivery day video that he hopefully does for this card, because I would love to see how he reacts to actually seeing this card in person. So anyways, the last card this week to sell is a YuGiOh card. And this card had been on my eBay page for a couple weeks. Had to lower the price a little bit, but it's Jain, Lightsworn Paladin. Ultra rare, unlimited, from RYMP. So this card is a nice card. I didn't realize it was as valuable as it was in terms of it being over 75 cents. So I was surprised that this card was worth over $1, but this card sold again like 2 weeks ago. There's some parallels. I have like 4 Pokemon cards that sell and the YuGiOh card that sells. We'll see how that goes through the weeks. I don't know if next week will be the same way. Next week I know there's one Pokemon card that may sell, but in terms of just this card, Jain basically sold for about $1.50, and net profit for me was about 85 cents after fees. So, you know, for me, when I sell cards, I don't really make much of a profit. Now, for the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I want to say it's not as big of a deal because these cards were bought so long ago that they probably lost a lot of value from when my parents bought them or family members bought them, or even if I bought them as a kid, they probably either appreciated or depreciated. So the value of them, I don't really remember what it started off with, but the value of the Pokemon cards are very apparent to me just because they are what I'm purchasing right now. So I am seeing the influx in pricing. So overall, this is the 9th week of sales. I made about 5 card sales this week, and I am just happy to sell some cards. I will have a video coming out kind of reflecting the journey so far in terms of selling cards. It's not as positive as you may think, and we'll see how that journey goes going forward. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this really long selling video. Again, thanks to X-Ray Hawk. I really appreciate it, my guy. You know, you bought the Lapras, and I really can't wait to see you do that delivery day video and to see the maybe excitement or just enjoyment of the card in your video. So anyways, hope to see you guys in the next selling video for next week. All right, have a good one, everyone. Peace.